Okay, so today I am doing a warm-up. I had originally recorded the audio with a nice microphone with my camera, but for some reason, I guess I didn't set it up. I'm showing you right now, these are the pencils that I'm using, the Koh-i-Noor woodless pencils. They've got a real nice texture to them, and I can lay them on the side whenever I want to do really broad strokes. So I'm working on Canson toned paper today. I love the Canson paper, especially the toned variant of it, because it gives me a nice textured surface to work on. It's got a nice tooth to it. Also, since it is toned, it gives me a nice medium area. I'm sorry, a medium tone to work on instead of working on pure white. So today I'm going to be working on a character that I'm sure that everybody is familiar with, especially if you've watched any of the Avengers movies. It's Thanos' character. I'm not really privy to all of the comic book lore that's out there in terms of the the ins and outs of the characterizations of the Marvel universe, but I do like the design of Thanos. He's got a real nice, very expressive face, and the fact that he's a villain really adds to the the feeling of what I'm drawing. So you guys have watched. For those of you who've been on my channel before, you know that I love doing warm-up drawings, and I love drawing something every day, and it's important that not only I do that, but you as an artist or budding illustrator should do this as well. Even if you're an old dog, you should draw something every day. I'm a teacher as well, and I tell my students that it's important that as a skill, drawing needs to be practiced continually. Your observation skills, your visual library needs to be built up in your brain, and all these things go hand in hand whenever you're trying to become a visual interpreter of life. I always like to expose myself. Isn't that a phrase that we can't use too often in public? But I like to expose myself to different types of media, mediums, and different subject matter, and really, change things up. So I'm showing right now in the drawing and explaining, starting with a sphere or a circle really gives me a base to kind of place the elements on the portrait. I'm sure that there's different methodologies on the internet and classes you can take, and also if you were to watch any of the videos here on YouTube, it'll give you the methodology of step by step how to create a portrait. These are things that I've watched, but also practiced continually. Knowing the underlying structure of the face, knowing where things go. And I'm not really giving him too much expression, just his, I'm going to kill you smirk. So that's what that is. Yeah, I'm placing all the things on the sphere and on the head to really, step-by-step process. And this is real time. I think I spent about 45 minutes on this piece, including color, maybe a little bit longer. I was really on the fence whether or not to do a drawing this morning, but at the end of the day, sometimes whenever you're the most stressed is the time to kind of step away. And that's what I've done. I've got, a ton of work that I'm working on right now for my clients. And sometimes it's good to just kind of take a moment, to do something completely unrelated. I know recently we lost an icon in the art field, Stan Lee. This is not a tribute drawing because I don't typically do tribute drawings. Stan Lee, I'm sure, was a wonderful human being, and he created an incredible body of work and changed our culture which is, I always tell students that it only takes one person to change the dynamic of our culture. Stan Lee is obviously one of them. He and the person he partnered up with in his career, Jack Kirby, and of course a lot of the other creative individuals in his Marvel universe, to really change and create something uniquely dynamic and just wonderful. And I definitely give props to him. Of course, now that he's passed away, it's just one of those deals where, and I always do this whenever somebody that I see has passed away, and then they put his entire body of work and maybe a sizzle reel or a film reel or something like that to pay, or a tribute reel to pay tribute to his body of work. And what people don't realize, and I'm sure that you'll watch the reel and you'll be like, oh, that was nice. That was a nice 2.5-minute tribute or 3-minute, 4-minute tribute to Stan Lee. And the thing is he was so much more, I'm sure, than just a writer, comic book creator. He was probably, a husband and a father and all these other things. So I'm not going to dwell on that, but, I just wanted to give props to Stan Lee. He was definitely a force to be reckoned with in the world of art. And, I definitely thank him for helping me in those times when I needed inspiration. I went to comics. But anyway, so today's drawing, like I said, is just a warm-up. And, working on something every day definitely gives me the opportunity to broadly experience different types of drawing media and mediums, from Marvel characters to Disney characters, working with pencil, maybe some watercolor. But this is kind of my bread and butter. I love to draw. It's one of those deals where I do digital work so much that, working digitally, I'm sure some of you artists know that there is a disconnect there, and the machine is there to basically inhibit you, even though you're trying your hardest not to have it inhibit you. It really does. Whereas drawing on paper, it really goes right to it, and I love drawing on paper. I wish I could do it more. I'm sure I could if I scan and all that other stuff, but drawing digitally on the Wacom Cintiq is just one of those deals where it just makes it so much easier. You see that my pencil is dull now, so I'm having to go to a sharper pencil. These Koh-i-Noor pencils are fantastic. They are expensive, but not compared to like Prismacolor. Prismacolors, they're like $2 a piece. I don't know who comes up with a price point. Now, granted, Prismacolor are fantastic, and you can't really question their quality, in the marketplace. But golly, when did pencils become so expensive? I think everything's expensive now. Everybody's trying to make a buck and whatnot. Dollar's obviously not worth what it used to. Anyway, so I'm finalizing my sketch here and just having a good time. And I'm really enjoying the drawing. What I'm explaining right now is whenever you draw something like this, there's always obviously a methodology to doing it, and you develop your own methodology of placing things. But always refer back to that mental training of creating forms first, and understanding that you do live in a 3D world, so you need to think 3-dimensionally, and that's not something that everybody can do. It takes a while to learn how to do that. Thinking 3-dimensionally, we live in a 3-dimensional world, so, I've said this before, drawing is one of those things where you have to think 3-dimensionally, but you're drawing on a 2D surface to make it look 3D. So there's multiple steps that your brain and hand has to go through, and of course practice really helps that out a lot. Anyway, I'm not going to drone on too long. It's going to go in time lapse, and we're just going to go to music, and I'll do a wrap up at the end. But definitely draw something every day, guys, and hopefully I'll get some more of these drawings out to you. This whole process between shooting, drawing, editing, uploading, I mean, it's like a 3-hour process. You know, if I were to do a really long drawing, I don't see how some of the YouTubers, you know, put a video up every day. Obviously, they're doing it for a living. Um, yeah. Anyway, thank you guys, and we'll do a wrap up at the end. We appreciate it. Thanks.